Hi, and welcome to the home offices of Exclusive Concepts. We're here today with Matthew Umbro, who's our Director of Paid Search Management. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thanks, James. Really excited to go over Google Shopping and how it can help clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So today's topic that we'll be speaking on is Google Shopping. There's been a lot of changes with respect to product listing ads and how folks can utilize Google Shopping as part of their paid search management to increase their revenues. So we've taken some questions from clients over the past several weeks and wanted to put something together to get an answer for those questions. So Matt, I figured what we could do is just walk through some of these and knock them out one by one.
Sure.
So Matt, first up, what is a product feed?
So a product feed is an online catalog of a store's inventory. And generally, product feeds are submitted to Google Shopping, Nextag, Shopping.com, and the feed basically shows images and additional information such as price, descriptions, titles, to show consumers who are searching online.
Great. What is Google Shopping? What makes Google Shopping so special?
So Google Shopping is what's known as, or Google Shopping is a comparison shopping engine that you can show your ads on. It used to be free listings. In other words, if you went to shopping.google.com, you submitted a Google Merchant Center feed, and Google would pull from that feed and show your products. There was also the paid portion of it, which were known as product listing ads, which you ran through Google AdWords. Now, Google Shopping is now completely paid. So if you want to show on Google.com or shopping.google.com, then you need to have a Google Merchant Center account, and you also need an AdWords account to be able to run your Google product listing ads.
So tell me a little bit more about that. What's a Google Merchant Center account?
So a Google Merchant Center account is where you submit your online catalog. You can submit it in a TXT file, a CSV, and so forth. And generally, many clients automate that process with a third-party software, and they update that feed daily. And basically, that's a daily update of that client's inventory.
Got it. Okay. Now, tell me a little bit more, getting into the specifics. What are auto targets?
So what auto targets are areas in your feed that you can use within Google AdWords to target specific products. So for example, an auto target is one of the auto targets is product type. That's an attribute you put in your, you put that column within your product feed, and you list a description of what that product is through a breadcrumb trail, essentially. And you can target that product type directly within AdWords. Now, there are various auto targets such as brand, condition, AdWords labels, and AdWords grouping, which I know we're going to talk about in a little bit, that you can use as an auto target.
Okay. Now, here's another question for you. How does Google know which products to show for which queries?
So that's why it's important to have an optimized feed and to make sure you have accurate labels associated with all your products. In other words, you want to write very good product titles and product descriptions. So Google's going, if someone does a search for, say, blue shoes, Google's going to go into your feed and look for any product titles or descriptions that match blue shoes. And you want to get specific in some cases where you still want to write a concise product title and product description, but you want to make sure it's as accurate as possible. Additionally, when we utilize these additional auto targets, such as product type, such as AdWords labels, you can have Google, you can give a little more clarity to Google for which products to show based on the search query.
Got it. That makes sense. How do I bid on PLAs?
So PLAs aren't keyword based. In other words, you're not bidding on any keywords to show these product listing ads. It's completely search query based. In other words, if someone does a search for, say, blue shoes, Google will show your blue shoes product listing ad out of the inventory of your catalog. So you don't bid on the keywords, but you can later on view a search query report very similar to a regular PPC campaign and view which queries actually triggered your ads.
Got it. Now, can I add promotional text to my PLAs?
Absolutely. So this is where it gets to the point where you want to make sure your feed is segmented accordingly. So if you're running a sale on necklaces, per se, you know your promotional text can be, say, 10% on all necklaces. Now, promotional text is up to 45 characters in length, including spaces, and that promotional text shows in a couple ways. If you hover over a product listing ad, that product or that promotional text will show. or in some cases, only 2 product listing ads will show, and the promotional text will show with it. So that promotional text is important to have, though it's not necessarily always seen by the client. It's important to get that extra incentive within your PLA for the user to click.
Okay. Now, in terms of judging performance, how can I view the performance of my PLAs?
So very similarly to regular PPC campaigns, we track conversions, we track revenue, we track clicks, impressions, average cost per clicks, and all that data is readily available within the AdWords interface.
Okay, great. What about negative keywords? I know one of the strengths of a traditional PPC campaign is segmenting traffic that way. Can you add negative keywords to PLAs?
Yes, and that's a great question, James. You can add negative queries to PLAs. Negative queries are negative keywords, however you want to say it, but
Great.
basically, same way with regular PPC campaigns, you can add negative queries that don't make sense. And just one additional point to that, we've been finding early on that even broad match terms do convert, and you don't always want to pause those or exclude those queries. It's a case-by-case basis, but generally in a regular PPC campaign, you'll want to exclude or not bid on the very generic terms, such as a blue shoes, because they are very generic and the shopper isn't that far down the buying cycle. However, in PLAs, because you're showing a product, an image, and the price, that can sometimes work toward your advantage. So with anything, you have to test and see what's working and what's not. But in general, broader queries aren't always, or don't always perform as bad as they do in regular PPC campaigns.
Okay. So in terms of talking a little bit about campaign optimization, what are some other ways I can effectively optimize that product feed that I'm pushing into these the PLA section of the account?
Sure. So within the feed area, like we had said before, you want to write optimized product titles and product descriptions.
Yep.
You want to make sure that your auto targets are very segmented. So with product type, for example, you want to make sure you're using very specific categories and a very specific taxonomy. There's a field called AdWords Publish that you can write a true or false in there. And true is if you want to show that product, and false if not. So you can deliberately tell Google which products to keep in the feed and which ones to not show.
Great.
There's also AdWords labels, AdWords groupings that help you, that you can create specific names for products you want to target. And I know we're going to get that in a minute, but those are also ways. Now on the AdWords management side, you can adjust the bids for your auto targets. Say necklaces are more important than rings and show you a better margin. You can bid up higher on those necklaces. Search query reports, again, you can add those negatives. And additionally, updating that promotional text. Those are all items that will help improve performance.
Excellent. So you did touch on AdWords label and AdWords grouping, those attributes. Is there anything else that we should know about how to use those to your advantage?
Sure. So AdWords labels is really a custom tag that you can use on specific products. And most often our clients use it on the product lines that show them the highest margin or the top sellers. And really, you go into your feed and can just, you can use whatever naming convention you want, say top margin for example, and pick out specific products and put top margin. And then within AdWords, you can create a campaign specifically around the AdWords label and bid up on those products. So what you're doing is bidding up on your products that you know are going to show you a higher margin and have those being showcased first.
Wow. Okay.
There's also AdWords grouping, which is very similar, although that's more of a category-based system where you put necklaces all in one, rings all in one, for example. It's also very similar to the product type, but these labels better help segment your feed and ultimately will help you show better performance because you're targeting the specific products that you know will show you the best returns.
Great. Are there any other ways that I can give greater prominence to certain products and suppress others?
Absolutely. If there are products you want to promote heavily, maybe they're new products, or maybe there are items you want to suppress, you can use those AdWords labels to target those products. Say suppress for items you want to get out of stock, promote for items that you want to really showcase. Those labels will certainly help. Also, as part of our Google Shopping service, we rewrite 20 product titles and we rewrite 20 product titles and product descriptions each month within the feed. That will help better optimize that feed and give a better description for users who are searching for your products.
Great, excellent. Well, Matt, we appreciate you taking some time. That exhausted all the questions that I have here that folks submitted to us for the list. So, if you do have interest in finding out more about the profitable Google Shopping service, make sure you click the form below, and we'll have somebody contact you within a few days. Thanks again, Matt.
Thank you, James.